With the Tehillim, let's take some tzedakah. Friends, join me. After having said the Tehillim, join me in giving some tzedakah as we keep on repeating. And ultimately it's going to happen. The sooner the better, obviously. Gedoyle tzedakah. Tzedakah has this phenomenal quality, more than any other mitzvah. Because every mitzvah is hastening the gula. But specifically it says about tzedakah, Gedoyle tzedakah she mekareves es agula, makes geula close to me, makes it my reality. Talking about geula, talking about redemption, I want to focus on something of the parsha of this week. We have in Torah mitzvah concept of Ir Miklat, a city of refuge. What is this? And I should preface, prison, as we know of all over the world, is not a punishment system according to Torah. If a person hurt someone, I don't put him in jail, it doesn't accomplish anything. Pay up, make restitution. You owe money? Pay back. You can't afford it? Go to work. You'll be sold into slavery even to pay back the debt. If a person killed someone, if it is intentional and with the whole procedure, there's a death penalty. If it was unintentional, then says the Torah, I will give you a Ir Miklat, a city of refuge. So the person who killed somebody else unintentionally would be protected from revenge and in a certain extent also protection for society. So the pasuk says over here in the parsha of this week that Moshe Rabbeinu set aside 3 such cities on the other side of the Jordan. Lanu shomer Rotzeach, that the Rotzeach should run over there, and he will be there protected. And then the pasuk says like this: V'nosel achas min ha'arim ha'el, and he will flee to one of these cities. V'choy, and he should be living. So the Gemara in Makis emphasizes the word v'choy, that it doesn't mean just that he should be alive. Okay, nobody is going to kill him. But what does he do there? No, v'choy means you make sure that all the amenities that he needs for life should be proper. Those cities had to be fully functioning cities. The only thing was, it was a gated community. Today people pay to live in a gated community. At that time they had to kill somebody unintentional. Excuse the pun. So he has to stay there, live there, and we have to make sure that he can live a proper life. So much so that if a student had to run to the city of refuge, says the Gemara, Megalin Rabbi Imba. It's a Gemara Makis, page 10, Daf Yud. Ahmed Aleph, word first, folio A, that the student that is going into exile, his teacher has to go along. Now, when we're talking about a teacher, we're not talking about his preschool teacher, but the one who is his main teacher, the one who is his mentor, the one who is making something out of him. Some commentators say the reason why his teacher has to go is because if this is your teacher, you belong there too. But the pasuk says, V'choy, says the Gemara, because he has to live. Teaching him is an integral part of his necessity for life. And therefore, you must set aside all your conveniences, you must set aside all your needs, and you follow the student because you have a responsibility towards that student. First of all, tells us the phenomenal responsibility that a teacher has to his student. But this is what the Mishnah says. The word that the Gemara says, Megalin Rabbi Imbai. Megalin, says the Rebbe, doesn't mean just that he goes there, but Megalin means that he himself has to put himself in this frame of mind, in this feeling, this state, this emotional state that a student feels like what it is being in the city of refuge. Because for the teacher to be able to relate to his student, he has to feel the student. He has to appreciate and understand the turmoil that the student goes through, so he must go through it himself also. Megalin, the teacher, has to put himself, so to say, in the shoes of the student. And then he can teach, and then he can help him. Pasuk that says, Magi devorov li Yankiv chukov mishpatov li Yisrael. That whatever the God tells us to do, He does it Himself. So if God gives a command that the teacher must go in exile, in the city of refuge, God does it too. We're in the city of refuge. We're in exile. God comes along with us in exile. But not only does He come along with us, but God puts Himself in that frame of mind that we are while in exile. And therefore, God doesn't want to stay here. He's going to come out and He's taking us out. So Eibishter, now